Who has a 100-word summary of all the trouble you got into last week?
We figured out the dungeon,
Did
or
you?
at least the doors. We figured out how the doors work.
We think we figured out the dungeon.
Also, our characters finally canonically know what an illithid is.
It just wouldn't be a D&D campaign without an illithid.
Yep.
Let's see if we can make friends with this one. That
What were we on, like 6 illithids that Brickrod's thrown at us, and every time we tried to make friends, and every other time it's gone horribly, horribly wrong?
we didn't try to make friends in the last campaign. We just,
Yeah, no, actually, we did. I actually listened to the finale of the last campaign. Yeah, no, that was basically a curb stomp.
For a moment, you had goals that sort of lined up with those of the illithid. And even then, like, illithids are never the good guys.
But what are the difference between, like, let's say, like, Griagro and, like, our party there and the Flumph crew is we had a deep gnome in the party. He knew what the...
Yeah,
I mean, we're not going to party with math, so I really don't know. Like, I've made sure we've always known what illithids are.
Listen, all I'm saying is if this illithid doesn't demand virgin sacrifices, he's one of the better people we've met.
That's
That
That's
would-
not true at all.
That would be everybody except Orson.
Oh yeah, Orsa got his brain eaten.
Was that last
or-
session or the session before?
That was the last session.
that was last session, and we kind of just stuck him in a corner, put a guardian light on him, and
Gave him
pat him on the head, and pat on the head.
tucked him in with his nap. He put his little night light on and left him in the room.
There was some talk about how somebody had mentioned that you have enough of the dungeon open that you're going to start marching him with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and get him right now. In fact,
I don't
Because-
know if that's a feasible
Victor-
plan
Victor
because
thinks that's a terrible idea.
Yeah,
okay. Well, here's the problem: is in a couple, whenever we finish clearing all this up, there's gonna be an illithid in this room with our disoriented, defenseless brother, and that is not acceptable.
It's not like the illithid's going to want to eat his brain. It's already been ate. He's fine.
Now that he can come with us, I think it's safer for him to be with us than for him to be alone.
I mean, we can always just move him back to the start of the dungeon, leave him there.
Well, yeah. And I can make another ghost for him?
Go in that tunnel area.
Actually, how long have we been in this dungeon?
the
Only
ghost
like-
lasts for 8 hours.
an hour, maybe 2 at most.
Well, I mean, we were on the mirror for a while. I'm not sure how long we were actually walking.
You trekked across the mirror, wasn't more than a couple of hours, if that. You guys explored quite a bit of the dungeon. You've taken one short rest, which is the most time-consuming thing you've done. So you're not running up against your time limit of 24 hours, if that's what you're asking.
Well, what I'm wondering is if we actually have time to try to get a long rest in so that Ekon can actually cast the spell that would give Orson his brain back.
That's not a bad idea, honestly. But
We don't know where in this dungeon would be safe
we need
do
to try
that.
to
Do you
maximize
even think
our
that will
time as
work
best
when
we
we're
can.
tiny us's from our brains and not ourselves?
If we believe hard enough, it will.
Anyway, at the very least, I think we should explore a little bit more of the dungeon.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to do that, I still have a ton of resources before we do that.
Right, yeah.
Likewise.
All right, let's solve this room and then decide what we want to do.
And we had just come into this room, which, as I recall, had a bunch of faces melded into the stone. Like they were actually the stone. And they were all screaming in either terror or possibly pain. I'm not sure which, because I haven't really had a burning desire to look closely at that.
Porque no los dos.
Uh,
All right, start poking. I'll watch.
So Evie
Victor will
starts
start.
poking.
No, she's ordering someone else to start poking.
And he starts-
Victor-
oh, I see how it is. Leading from
Victor
the
will
back,
look at
I
the
see.
faces.
So just to recap, you have
This
this
isn't my
large
job.
stone spire in the center of the room. And there are 4 terraced levels of it. However, the top of the spire does not reach all the way to the ceiling. There is definitely a top to it if you were to climb up. The 3 lower terraces are maybe 10 or 12 feet each, and then this last one is 3 or 4 times higher than that. You have this nice little brain juice waterfall coming out of one of the terraces. And yeah, all across the surface of it are faces etched into the stone in a variety of emotional trauma.
So, like, just real quick, so it's just all across the entire width of it on most of the surfaces or faces, or just like on one particular, or like maybe like the top one.
Like if you were to try to climb the walls to get up to the higher terrace, you would have to grab hold of these faces. They would be the most likely handholds. Would be somebody's forehead or nose or ear.
Okay, that seems like a terrible idea.
I'm already done. It's already up. I'm already on this one.
Yeah, Evie says that's a terrible idea. That she turns and Jeannie's already doing it.
Victor's looking at the faces to first see if they're stone or if they're actual faces.
Looks like they're carved or etched into the stone. They're not moving, if that's your question.
Well, it's more like, are these the faces that belong to the brains that are in the buckets?
You would have no way of knowing.
It's like
flesh or stone?
They're stone.
Okay.
And I mean, Jeannie climbs up to the second terrace, so she's standing up on this ledge about 20 feet above you, and she's had to grab noses and clumps of stone hair.
Is there any apparent pattern to the layout of the faces?
The only pattern that you can discern is that they are all not having a good day.
It's the same kind of around the entire thing.
Pretty much. They look pretty uniform. But no,
this is another potentially dangerous idea, but Victor, can you telepathically communicate with anything here? Is there a consciousness hidden within these stone faces?
Why don't we see what's in the room before I go scramble my brain doing that?
Let's have everybody make me a... Is anybody not stepping into the room? Because I see Ekon's still in the doorway. Jeannie's climbing the thing. Victor's walking the perimeter. Are Evie and Ekon hanging back?
Evie's like observing the situation. She's seeing what everyone's going to do. She doesn't know how to solve the stone face room. She's taking everything in.
Okay.
I mean, I'm no good at climbing things, so I'm just going to stay on the ground. But
I need a perception check from everyone, please. Victor and Jeannie, make this at advantage.
Edmont was trailing around with Victor.
It's 24.
You can also make this at advantage, Edmont.
That's a 27.
15.
15.
10.
So Edmont and Jeannie both got 15.
Thank you, dear.
And Evie got a 10.
Yeah, I don't roll well.
Ekon.
Mm-hmm.
You're hanging back towards the door, watching Jeannie, Victor, and Edmont kind of do some preliminary investigation. Victor and Edmont circle down and around and kind of walk the perimeter of the structure, while Jeannie just climbs right up to the middle of it. Meanwhile, you see your face in the rock, carved about here. Victor, your face is much higher up, about here.
Ekon's going to walk over to it, kind of looking at it like it's a mirror, kind of make a funny face at it.
And it's just your stone face. Doesn't move. Victor
doesn't react at all?
No, doesn't react. Victor, yours is harder to interact with because it's about 20 feet above you, off the ground, from that angle.
Victor is going to try and climb up.
Okay.
I don't think they got my nose right.
They got your nose exactly right.
I don't know. I don't think it quite looks like that.
What expression is on my face?
Nothing good. Pain, horror, fear. Maybe you just smelled a really bad fart. One of those things.
Jeannie, stop farting.
Excuse me, I'm a lady.
And Victor will start to climb to the top with Jeannie.
Okay.
So on the top, so there's no terrace up here. This is just going straight up to the ceiling at a point.
From the third terrace, if you were to climb another maybe 30 or 40 feet up, would be the highest ledge of the platform.
All right.
And both of you are climbing all the way up?
Yep.
I bet those are our faces when we fall.
At the very top, you see a little man hunched over a tiny stone bench. Very small man, no taller than 2 feet tall or so, smaller than even a child, but there's no mistaking him for a man because his skin is weathered and worn, and he's got gray hair coming out of his ears and his nose and drooping down the front of his face. And he's toiling over this stone bench with tools, carving.
Are you the artist?
He gives you the briefest of glances as he looks up. And he doesn't speak in Darkanese when he responds. Nonetheless, you understand when he says, "You are already completed," and then returns to his work.
He's very good at his job, Genie.
What's the name of the art install? Like, what's the name of your art installation?
And he responds, "West Tower, 3003.
Left Tower 3003.
West Tower, 3003.
Is there an East Tower, by chance?
He does not respond to that question. Continues focusing on his work.
Whose face is he carving?
Carving a bench, right?
Well, he's working on a bench, but he's carving a stone piece. Nobody's face that you can discern, at least not anybody that you recognize, but it does seem like he's working on the face, like he's going around the curvature of a bulbous nose, carving the material out of an inner nostril.
Ask him, whose face is that?
The orders are given, the orders are received.
Who gives the orders?
The orders are given, the orders are received.
What if we want to place an order?
The orders are given, the orders are received.
Okay, we're giving you an order to stop.
You order him to stop?
Yeah.
He does not.
I'm gonna try and pry my face off of this pillar.
With what? Just
Just a knife. Just a dagger.
At first glance, you don't think it'll work because it looks like the faces are carved directly into the rock. But as you get a knife behind it, you realize there is an imperceptible crack. Evie, as Ekon works a knife behind the crack of this face, you see up on his temple starts leaking blood.
Stop. And I'll point out the injury to him.
Huh.
What is it? Evie, what's going on?
I'll explain what happened when Ekon tried to pry the face off. It made him start bleeding.
Yeah, brother, that's a nasty cut. I don't. All right, now that he's seen both Victor and his brother, he's going to start looking for other familiar faces, not just him and his siblings and cousins, any other face he might know.
Who and nobody in particular?
Well, first he's gonna go for his cousins first. He's gonna look for his cousins.
Make me an investigation check. Three. Try as you might. I mean, looking over the faces, it's difficult to even focus on the details of one. When you kind of step back and look at all of them, they're just a sea of nondescript faces. When you focus on the details of this face or that, you can see that they are individuals, but it's still very abstract. It wouldn't be in the sense of having carved a particular person's face. In fact, Victor and Ekon's faces would not have even leapt out to you if they hadn't been pointed out.
Range.
I'm gonna ask the small man, like, if his face is present. I'm gonna ask him if somebody has ordered him to put his own face up here.
The orders are given, the orders are received.
Where is your face?
And he glances up just for a brief moment. You can see he still has a face. It's covered in grime and this disheveled white beard. Then he turns back to his work.
You are ordered to make your face.
The orders are given. The orders are received.
You think that means he understands, Genie?
I don't know. Want to push him off the cliff? I don't know.
Kinda.
I don't think we need to resort to murder just yet.
You didn't hear that? We're whispering.
At this point, the little man is turning his tool to the other side of the face, carving out the parts around the eye, giving detail to the lid, the cheekbone.
Is it starting to look any more familiar or just on the random face?
Doesn't look familiar to you. Could be anyone's face.
So who gives you the orders?
The orders are given, the orders are received.
By who?
And he just repeats that phrase anytime you ask a question about the orders or who gives them or if you try to give him an order.
Okay.
Hey, Genie, I'll give you a copper if you take his tools.
I'm gonna look at his tools. Like are they? What kind of tools are they? Just standard stone cutting tools?
Chisel, awl, small rock hammer,
Actually,
polishing grit.
He's only holding one of these tools, right?
He's, depending on which one he needs at a moment, he's switching between them.
So what I would like to do is one of the tools that he's not currently using. Is there any possible way that I can sleight of hand and steal it without him noticing? Or
Make a sleight of hand check. Dexterity, sleight of hand.
Okay. Victor's going to try and swipe one of his tools.
Okay. Yeah, make a sleight of hand check.
Evie can't see what's happening, but she has like a sixth sense for when someone in her family's about to do something dumb.
The Victor is misbehaving alarm starts going off.
Okay, so
Rick starts standing up.
if a 21 is not a success, then I'll add my psionic dice, which will make it a 25.
21, so you slip your hand down, slide this small rock hammer up into your sleeve, put your arms behind your back, slide the hammer down into your pack. As far as you can tell, he was focused on his work. He probably didn't notice. Waiting another minute before he goes to reach for the hammer and notices it's not there. He stands up for a moment. First time you've seen him stand over his work. Without looking up, he says, "Please excuse me." And he turns and walks away. As he walks past the plane of the top of the spire, his form just vanishes as though into mist.
The hell?
Follow him.
Follow him? Are you following him?
No,
or are you
I'm
Victor to follow
I'm
him?
telling Victor to follow him. Follow him, Victor. Just real quick. Quick, Victor, follow him.
You're not walking off the cliff, you're crazy.
After him, go.
Victor will go put his hand in the area to see if it, is there anything there?
Yeah, there's a steep, 50-foot drop.
Edmont
Genie
staring
push.
up at you.
Sorry, Genie, I don't think this goes anywhere.
Well, okay. Well, Genie just kind of shoves you lightly.
Off the cliff.
No. But to scare him, to make it think that I am.
Wow.
And after a minute of shenanigans and on top of the spire, the little man steps back onto the platform as though from nothing. And he's holding a replacement hammer. And he sits back down, sets it on his bench, and continues to work.
Where did you just go?
I have misplaced one of my tools.
How did you get back to your workshop?
And he doesn't answer the question. He gives a
If
curt explanation that he has misplaced one of his tools, and then he gets back to work. And now he's going around the earlobe, carving the material out of the piece, and the piece is almost completed.
Okay. Well, I suppose we just wait and see what face this is, right?
I mean, you could always just take his mask.
I don't know that face is important.
It's not like the face of... So it's none of our faces, right?
Not that you can tell.
Is it the face of?
You know that website that like generates fake, like uses the AI routines to generate fake human faces?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this could be. Anybody's face.
Right. Okay. I was
It
just
could be a
make sure
particular person you don't know. It could be just artistic rendering. You have no idea.
I was just making sure it
Meanwhile-
wasn't like the detective on the outside, one of their faces.
Victor is going to try and touch the guy on the shoulder to see if he's real.
Hey, and he pauses his work for just a moment, and then resumes. He doesn't seem to mind that you have your hand on his shoulder.
Evie asks Ekon to detect magic because there's some connection between this carving of his face and himself. Something
Yeah.
supernatural.
I have a feeling that this is a whole magical place, but let's take a look for magic.
You are inside of a large magical artifact.
What about the goggles? Do they reveal anything? Do the faces have psychic signatures?
The faces in particular, no, but the mirror, the whole mirror itself, sort of
Right.
does. The psychic reading is strongest in the direction of the crystal
Yeah.
room. And the
Right,
man
right.
finishes up the contours of the backside of the stone. And he sets it in front of him, but he does not set it on the bench. He just places it in the air, and it hangs there, unaffected by gravity. And then it begins to move, begins to float up and over Victor's head.
Victor's going to try and grab it.
Try to grab it out of the air.
Yeah.
And you're now holding this stone face.
He'll-
And you
he'll-
can feel this mild tug on your hands as though it wants to move away from you.
Does a man react in any way?
No, in fact, he's not even looking at you. He's just sitting at his desk.
Victor will put the mask back on the desk and say, "This is incomplete."
The work is complete. And when you take your hands away from the mask, it lifts in the air again, floating up over your head.
Try and grab it and shatter it on the desk.
Grabbing it out of the air is trivial. The thing only weighs about maybe 1 pound or so, maybe a little more than that. Shattering it on the desk is going to require a decent amount of strength. Let's see a strength check. Because it's still made of solid stone.
Yeah.
And you are not the Karate Kid.
I am not, but that's an 18 on my strength check.
It's not bad.
So Victor and Eugenia are just up here harassing this poor man. He's just trying to do his job.
That's your feeling, yeah. And then you see Victor hold the stone. Well, you can't really make out because Victor is very high up.
Uh-huh.
But you can tell that he's doing something violent. And then you hear the sound of stone striking stone. And Victor, the mask splits in half down the center.
Victor just killed a dude somewhere.
Look, Genie Morrison.
The man gathers up his tools, takes the stone, and starts aligning the pieces together. And from another section on his bench, you see him retrieve a handful of what looks like small metal staples that he begins painstakingly hammering into place.
So, but when the guy turns around, like Victor doesn't let him take both pieces back.
So what is it you're doing? What's the goal here?
Yeah, I'm about to ask that too.
You're
Like
holding-
Victor's trying to provoke this guy into a fight.
As long as you're holding one half, he doesn't do anything. If you place both halves on the bench, he's going to resume his work.
Okay, then yeah, after a while of him not doing anything, Victor would toss it back and watch him staple it, I guess.
Yeah, and he immediately starts resuming his work.
So, question: how far up does this waterfall originate?
The waterfall is on the first tier, but it's coming out of the wall. It's below you by about,
Right.
I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 feet or so, maybe halfway up the spire from that first tier. And you can see the water flowing in at the base of the spire, at the floor, but it's coming out much higher up, flowing down into this small channel in the first tier, and then falling again into the channel on the floor and flowing away from you.
All right.
You think something's on inside of this structure?
Yeah. Jeannie kind of hops down. She says, "I want to go back to this room and try something. Can one of you, like, I need. Just stay here. And she'll go off.
Always split the party.
You're right. And Jeannie runs back to this room. Jeannie just. Because there's not a pool in this room. But yeah, Jeannie makes her way to this room back over here. Through the shortest route, which would be this way.
The shortest route
Yeah.
on foot? I mean, the shortest route would be to squeeze into this channel here, probably.
Well, that's probably fair. She'll be like, "I'll be right back," and she'll hop in the channel and then go here and pop out.
I'll be honest, if my options, like to get around the hotel, were to take like a long circular path up and down a bunch of stairs, or shove my brain in the garbage chute, I would take the stairs.
Yeah.
Right. But you're not Jeannie, and Jeannie
That's
does not care.
true.
So Jeannie is going to get over here, and she's going to stick her hand,
Okay.
and she's going to will her. She wants to.
I do not like this idea.
She
You
wants
don't know
to
what
go
she's
back.
doing.
She wants to go. She's just on principle. She wants to like force the brain juice to put her over, like, just if there's a space in this tower
Okay.
to like, cause her to appear inside of it.
So your goal is to ride the channel backwards into this space.
If there's a space that is to
Well, you're
I
not. You
know.
don't know whether there is or not, and you're not going to know
Right.
until you try it.
Yeah, well, I'll try it. It's fine. This
Okay.
is where Jeannie dies, you guys.
This is maybe the worst idea that anyone has done in this campaign.
Yeah, make an intelligence check.
I think it's a
Alright.
great idea.
That's a 18.
18.
I think Jeannie's about to take a lot of damage.
What's the passive perception from the four of you standing in the room?
I've got a 19.
19's pretty good.
18.
12.
Victor and Ekon.
16?
Maybe Evie, I guess. That's a lot of ones. That's only... No, it's not a lot of ones. Sorry. Jeannie,
The one stand out more.
Yeah.
14 points of bludgeoning damage. And you are suffocating. Here's the problem. Your brain is trying to reconstitute your body in a space that's way too small to accommodate it.
Okay.
Here's the second problem. There doesn't seem a way to flop your brain back into the stream and reverse it. You're just stuck.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, I'm dead
So-
then, aren't I?
Victor.
Jeannie, this is
and
why you have
Ekon-
to talk about your plans.
Victor and Ekon and Evie, you can hear inside, emanating from behind the rush of the water, you can hear Jeannie's strained cries as she's being crushed.
Is there any way for me to like reach back and try to grab her and pull at her or anything?
Well, what are you trying to do?
Like on his stomach,
everybody
reaching under the
except
waterfall.
I'll give everybody except Edmont time to do one action to try to free Jeannie from this horrible, horrible thing she has done to herself.
Before I just die?
Well, before you take more damage.
Victor is trying to like wiggle into the space to grab her.
So you're trying to like reach back through the waterfall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, it worked for my phone. Maybe it'll work for Jeannie.
What are Ekon and Evie making any attempts?
Evie is about to just blow this whole pillar up.
Can I... Is it possible for me to have line of effect to psionically pull or push Jeannie's brain down into the fluid?
You can make the attempt.
Okay. Would that be a wisdom check? Because that's typically a wisdom-based save DC.
This is using like a cleric class feature, right?
No, it's a feat. It's innate, like, wild talent for telekinesis.
Oh, okay. I would.
So
More
the
than-
feat is based on my wisdom score for the saving throw DC.
You're trying to mage hand my brain back into the water?
Yeah, I'm trying to do the telekinetic shove of a creature to push your brain back into the fluid.
Okay. Yeah, whatever the normal saving throw is, then.
Okay.
And Jeannie will have the
s-
opportunity to fail it if she wants.
Give me a
Oh,
DC
yeah.
17 strength saving throw, Genie.
Well, I
Or
mean,
not.
That's an or not.
So,
I've
Victor, you're immediately reaching back in the waterfall. And Eve, you're hanging back. You see Victor and Ekon spring into action, and you're thinking, okay, if their thing doesn't work immediately, explosions are about to happen. Is that
Yeah.
okay? So, Victor, you reach back through the waterfall. And, I mean, you can get your hand on Jeannie's arm, but, I mean, it's through a hole way too small that the water is coming through. And her flesh is contracting back and forth as her body is trying to fill out this shape inside. Victor, make me a horror check.
Genie, best idea ever. Yeah, that's a big 6.
A big 6.
Unless there's a modifier to it.
No, it's just you need to roll an 11 or better. Where's my list of who's failed how many horror checks? I have it here. Give me a second. Victor. Here's the problem. Your thought was, all right, there's a space inside of here that Jeannie has traveled into and is like, so she's trapped inside. That's what caused you to reach in and grab her and try to pull her out. What you've realized, though, is that the space inside, not only is it not big enough for a human to fit, it's more or less just big enough for this small channel of water to pass through. And just the mental image, especially holding onto her arm as you are, of what contortions and fractures must be occurring is horrific to imagine. Ekon, your plan is to reach in and try to shove her brain downward.
Yep, back into the fluid.
And Jeannie, you are going to fail this saving throw?
I don't think Genie has the
It's your
The
decision.
presence-
You can make the
yeah,
saving
no,
throw.
I'm fail. Yeah, I'm going to fail the saving throw.
Jeannie,
Yeah.
18 further points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
And then the crushing sensation stops. And you feel your brain once again flowing through the channel. Your head is just swimming. And roll me a d4.
Okay, I gotta get a D4.
Victor's like panicking at this point, screaming, Genie!
1.
1. In or out?
Yeah. Out.
And you flop out. What part of your body has suffered a debilitating bone fracture? What extremity?
That would probably be one of her arms.
Okay.
I don't know. We could roll a D4 if you want.
No, I'll let you pick.
Yeah, arm is fine.
So one of your arms, I mean, the pain of it, you can tell, like, that part of your body was trying to just fill up physical space that didn't exist. And the bone is just fractured. Your arm's sitting at this unnatural angle. For all intents and purposes, you can't use that hand to hold anything. And anything you
Okay.
try to do with manual dexterity is going to be made at disadvantage. Also, roll initiative. Everybody can roll, even though most of you are out of the room. I did not roll terribly well.
Yep.
All right, so who's at the top of my order?
We've got Victor at 23.
Victor, here's what you have to act on. Is you pull your arm out in a horror, and like your brain is swimming with these horrific images. You see Ekon step up and do his ghost magic? I don't know. And then you hear the splash inside. And then for a moment you can even see Genie's brain flowing outward. And that's
So
about all you get before you can act.
So the first thing Victor is going to do is establish a psionic link with everybody, I guess. And we'll maintain that for...
You can maintain that with multiple people at a time?
Yeah. For the next hour. 1 hour.
Okay. Yeah, Genie's alive, and at this point has just flopped out of the channel.
Genie, where are you?
Room.
Back in the room. I think my arm's broken.
Victor is going to start sprinting towards the room.
All right, go ahead and make that movement.
So here's the real question. Given the horror check, should Victor be able to enter any of these channels? Or do I need to make a saving throw?
No. Physically, you can't enter any of the channels. That was the problem, was Genie was trying to reconstitute in a space that could not hold her body.
No, I mean the portal's like in the flesh room.
Oh, yeah, you could climb up into one of these and end up back in there.
Okay, so he's not that terrifying.
Is that the idea? You're dashing towards one of those pools?
Yeah, 50. All right, so my movement and a dash gets me to there.
Okay. And you're just
And can I
jump in the pool and then wait for your brain to
pop out of the main room? Yeah.
Okay. On the start of your next turn, I will ask you to direct yourself through the flow. Who's next?
Okay.
We've got Evie at 16, followed by Edmont on deck.
Evie. Victor reestablished his link, and he dashed out of the room.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Double move by... she just falls here. Do I take fall damage?
Oh, that was what, like a 15-foot drop?
I thought it was like 10.
Yeah, if it's a 10-foot drop, you can just hop down.
Okay. 15, 20, like 30.
Where are you trying to get to?
I'm trying to get to this one.
Why don't you just go to the one that I'm at?
I think that one takes too long.
So you're running through the room?
I have one more movement, dash, 5, 10, 20, 25. God, this is going to take forever.
Maybe.
30. That's her movement.
Okay, who's next?
After Evie, we've got Edmont with Genie on deck.
Edmont, fix it.
30, 40, 45, dash. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 45 gets me into that channel with Victor.
Okay, so at the start of your next turn, I will direct you through the flow. And then it's Genie.
Genie with pink token on deck.
Do I see the pink tokens, or is they just by myself currently?
What's your passive perception?
11. 11.
11. So you know that previous encounters in here, when you haven't been paying much attention to which way you've been going in the flow, the brain spiders have popped out. And at this moment, like, you're still recovering from the trauma in the previous room. In the tense moment, as you're waiting, like, are brain spiders about to appear? You do see the two brain spiders about to appear. On their turn, they're going to flop out of this channel. So right now, you're not in any threat range.
Right. Which way are they? Because I'm going to run the opposite direction.
Well, they're going to run towards you. Whatever direction you run.
I understand that, but like, so if they're... I forget which way. This place flows clockwise or counterclockwise?
It flows counterclockwise.
Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, dash 35, 40, 45, 50, 55.
Did you use half your movement to stand up?
Oh.
Having flopped out of the water?
I didn't realize I was prone. Yeah. No, I didn't. So 5, 10, 15. And I'm probably not going to be able to climb up to the next...
No, climbing with one arm is... I mean, you can make the attempts, but I would make you make an athletics check at disadvantage.
Right.
Your arm's doing that thing where like it looks like a Z.
Yeah. Uh, Actually, so I can see the brains.
Yeah, they're coming down the channel and they're about to flop out on their next turn.
I'm going to cast a web spell like centered on the brains.
So directed down into the liquid, or like making a solid,
Like, it just
like
it
lid
fills
above.
this. Yeah, it fills the space that it's in.
Okay.
My understanding. Like it's a 20-foot cube, I think.
You know what? If any creature should have the ability to walk on webs, it would be these things, but I don't think they actually do. Yeah, go ahead and draw your web spell.
Let me just verify how big it's supposed to be.
Are you supposed to be seeing any markers?
Not yet.
I mean, if you want, I put some on the table, but I haven't actually like initialized them yet. That's not literally where their position is. But they're gonna pop out of the water.
On that position. So like if they're like a little further downstream, like I want to like web them up to prevent them from getting to me.
Okay.
You could move and ready to web them when they pop out of the water.
Could do that too.
Oh. Yeah, we'll do with that. So, but this is so I start here. 5.
Oh,
10.
you know what? I pictured these things as having spider legs, but in the artwork, no, they actually have like panther legs.
Yeah.
These ones
Yeah.
have spider legs because that's weirder.
Yeah,
How's
okay.
that?
So I'm going to move here and then ready in action to cast web centered centered in on top of them, but in such a way where I don't get
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That uses the spell slot, whether or not you choose to use your reaction on that. The spell slot's gone.
right. Yeah, I know.
Is that it for Genie?
Yep, 20-foot cube. All right, yes.
Got a pink token with Ekon on deck.
Yeah, they are going to appear here and here.
Oh.
That's where they're going to pop out of the juice. So if you're going to web them up, draw your square.
Well, they're still going to be able to hit me.
Possibly.
Man.
I think they're restrained, so they have a disadvantage.
All right.
If they're restrained by the
check
web,
this
yeah, they can attack, but they would be doing so at disadvantage.
All right. I need a saving throw from the gentleman's DC 17. It is a no. The strength check is after they're restrained. What is the first one?
Do they make a
Dex.
save?
Dex
on it?
save.
Yeah, it's the first one is a dex save to see if they're restrained.
7 and a 7.
Okay, so they're restrained.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as they break the plane of the liquid, you throw out the web spell. Does that have a material and a somatic component?
Yes.
So you can do the somatic component while holding an item in that same hand, right?
If you're using a focus to replace the somatic component, you in fact have to.
Okay, got it. Which
Oh, yeah,
I'm assuming
gun.
you are.
Yeah, it's my arcane firearm.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, as soon as they splash up out of the water, I mean, they're caught in this web. Here's the problem. As your companions come flowing through the room, they're not going to be able to see this web. So that'll be fun. Yeah, they're attacking at disadvantage.
All right.
Because for the moment, at least, they can still reach you. I have a 13 to hit.
No.
I have a 7 to hit.
No.
I have a 16 to hit.
It just hits. It's my AC.
And I have a 17 to hit.
Okay.
So the first one back here is scrabbling against the web, and you're just out of its effective reach. This one's a little bit closer and manages to devour your entire brain. Maybe. I don't know. We're looking at 7 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
and I need you to make an intelligence saving throw.
That is a 29.
29?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the thing scratches out, slashes at you with its sharp spider leg. And then you can feel its psychic fangs sinking into your brain, but you shrug it off. You've got enough to worry about. Like, the pain of your arm is very distracting. But both of them are struggling against the web to reach at you. That's it. Who's next?
After that is Ekon with Victor on deck.
All right, Ekon.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 5, 10. I think I can make it to here and enter this brain channel.
Okay. Then on the start of your next turn, you will be able to direct the flow.
Got Victor with Evie on deck.
Victor, I'll be with you in just one moment. I'm looking at my cheat sheet here. Victor, in or out?
In.
In or out?
In.
In or out?
In.
In or out?
What are
Out.
you doing?
Out. Victor, you splash out just on the outside of the web. It would have been a lot funnier if Jeannie had placed this web one square to the left.
I don't disagree with that, but yes.
As your body's reconstituting on this turn, I'm going to say that you don't have any movement to use. You can't move from this space. And you can either take an action or a bonus action, but not both.
Okay. And I cannot use.
You're spending
that
most
action.
of this 6 seconds like waiting for your body to completely reform.
Yeah, and I can't like dash or disengage as a bonus action.
You can, but that's the only thing you could do.
Okay, so I can move. It just takes my action to do it.
If you dash, yes, you would gain some
Okay.
speed. You'd gain some movement.
Victor, stab it!
I know I'm gonna fucking hate myself, but yeah, Victor's gonna stab it.
All right,
You get advantage because it's restrained.
you do.
Does a 21 hit?
21 does hit.
Unfortunately, you know what's about to happen, right, Jeannie? First off, we're gonna roll really shitty on the damage. So that's gonna be 21 points. Unfortunately, it's gonna be 21 points of psionic damage.
Okay. Fun things are about to happen.
Victor, I told you to use your real knives.
You're not in the
He
room,
said
you
stab
can't
it.
yell
We're
at him.
panicking.
Evie, I guess you do have a mouth because you're... but you have no way to know what's going on. I mean, you're
No.
about to.
I'll know in a second.
Yeah. All right. I need a strength saving throw from Victor, Jeannie, and Evie. DC is 20.
Oh, well,
Yeah, no.
no.
I got an 8.
Well, that's wonderful. Like, there goes me getting out of this.
Okay, so all three of you are knocked prone as the psychic quakes take over. And this time, you actually feel... Victor, you too. This time, however, you actually sustain damage. 5 points each, psychic damage.
You said stab it.
Edmont and Ekon.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I need each of you to please roll me a d6.
Oh goody. We're going for a ride.
Got a 3.
5.
Okay, bear with me just a moment.
Genie's yelling at you, like, why didn't you use your real knives? You have them. They're on your belt.
It's not how he rolls.
I guess not.
Victor was panicking. He was coming to save you.
All right, so Edmont got a 3, and Ekon got
Yeah.
a 6.
No.
I think it's the other way around.
Okay.
Yeah, Ekon got a 3. Edmont got a 5.
Edmont got a 5.
Yep.
Edie, this is all your fault.
All right, who's next?
Next up, we've got Evie with Edmont on deck.
Evie.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're not able to see or hear anything in the other room,
what
obviously,
happened?
but it's very clear what's just occurred.
This screams out, God damn it, Victor! My movement speed to stand up.
Yep.
20, 25, dash, 35, 45. I am in.
Okay, so on the start of your next turn, we'll have you go through the flow. Who's next?
Did I kill the creature at least?
Oh, yeah, no, it's dead.
After Evie, we've
That's
got Edmont with Genie on deck.
Edmont.
Sir.
Give me 1 second to pull up my map.
Where
I'm
do I
really glad
get to
didn't
go?
jump into that other flow. I am so glad I took the other one.
Edmont, in or out?
In.
In or out?
In.
In or out?
Out.
Edmont. I mean, you are prone coming out of the... And you are restrained as you pop out right into the center of the web.
I think he gets a dexterity save, actually.
Yes. The first time you enter into a thing, you get a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Yeah, you can make that dex save. Being prone doesn't make a difference on that, does it?
It doesn't say it
I don't
does.
think it does.
No. That's a 20... 22.
22? All right, so
Yeah.
you are not restrained. However, you have no movement, and you can make an action or a bonus action on this turn. As you're spending most of the turn waiting for your body to reconstitute.
Melee attack at disadvantage
Okay, against the creature.
against the creature. Yeah,
You
with
have
the whip.
advantage because it's restrained.
Yeah.
You're not restrained. Why are you attacking at disadvantage?
Prone.
Prone.
Yeah, prone when you have disadvantage when you're using a melee attack prone.
All attacks except for crossbows with a certain feat.
Looking at a 22 to hit.
That'll hit.
8 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
And extra attack. Also a 22 to hit.
All part of one action, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to hyper wrist
Okay.
and make that 10 points of slashing damage. I've used 2 charges of it.
And the thing is badly bloodied now.
That's all I got.
All right, who's next?
Genie with pink token on deck.
Genie, can you be the guy?
I need a dexterity save. Well, first of all, Genie's going to stand up.
Sure.
I need a dexterity saving throw. He has disadvantage on this because he is restrained.
Looking at a 12.
Okay, he takes... It's coming. I'm going to hit him with a sword burst. I need d6s for this. So 2d6 plus a d8. 12 points of force damage.
And that's enough. as you squash the brain in front of you and its juices flow down through the channel.
I'll drop the web, by the
Okay.
way. And I don't want to erase all lines. We need some of those lines.
And after a moment, Evie and Ekon appear from the channel. Ekon, you are nowhere near where you thought you were about to pop out. The psychic quake, while you were in there, somewhat randomized your position amongst the stream. But as you guys get out, and the creatures are now dead, and everybody's huffing and puffing with exertion, and yeah,
Edmont.
Jeannie's arm looks like a Z.
Edmont
Are you okay?
Edmont does
starts
what?
brushing up. Edmont starts brushing up the web residue. Stares daggers at Victor.
I'm gonna make a
Straight to
medicine
Genie.
check to see what I need to do to get Jeannie's arm back into shape.
A
Set the
magical
arm.
healing would typically do the trick.
All right, let's go ahead and tag her with the cure wounds.
Okay.
Do I have a cure wounds? Do you want to do your own cure, or should I just use a healing word?
I'll use a
Yeah,
level 1 spell slot.
Yeah, your slots are better for that.
And Edmont, once he steps away to go check on Orson.
And
Genie.
at this point, his spear he's holding onto it by just the tips of his fingers, and the weight of his body has slumped backwards against the stone, and he's just staring upward into space. His tongue
he's fine,
all in
right?
his mouth.
Is he injured at all?
He doesn't have a brain.
Like, he physically doesn't have a brain, and there's nothing in the brain. Like, is this a brain is physically gone, or a no thoughts head empty?
You'd have
It's
to,
not
you'd have to
like-
cut his head open to know for sure.
I think if his brain was physically gone, I don't think he would still be alive.
So yeah, Genie,
Genie.
with Ekon's help, he sets your arm in place, so you use your cure wounds to repair some damage, and you can now make use of the arm again.
Don't ever do anything stupid like that again. If anyone's gonna kill you, it's gonna be me.
Aw, Victor does care. I hug Victor. It's okay.
Genie, you gotta run your ideas by the rest of us first.
If I do that, you shoot them down.
Okay.
She has
Yes.
a point.
You are correct. I would have shot this idea down.
It was a good idea.
Remind
Just
me, is
well
there a
executed.
wall here?
Is there a wall?
No.
There
No,
was
that-
at one point, yes.
There was, and we solved that room. Okay.
Yeah, the red.
I don't have any good ideas for the mask room, so my thought is to go. We should check out the room to the left of the bone pillars.
Okay.
Evie goes up to Victor like, give me your psychic knives, but she can't do that. She's like, fuck.
Victor, you have to use the regular knife.
Give your knives.
In Victor's
Panic, like
defense,
you were getting your brain eaten.
he had either an action, or if he had had both, he could have used whatever damage type he wanted.
Anyway,
This was
I will-
this was an
Never
an
again.
extreme circumstance. This is the only time I will ever defend Victor's actions. But I think he did the right thing.
yeah, no, probably. Listen, I apologize to everyone involved. I will be better in the future.
I certainly hope so.
Does somebody
That's
want to
very
like
big
roll
of
an
you.
insight check because Jeannie's got her hands like she's got her fingers crossed behind her back.
Evie,
Passive
Evie-
insight of 19.
But yeah, no, Edmont feels like he's known Jeannie for long enough to know that she's not being sincere in the least.
Let's
Yeah.
go with Ekon's idea.
I'll run any ideas for the duration of this dungeon around everybody. Don't worry.
So we're heading down to room number 8 here next. I mean, you guys can't see the 8, but that is what room it is.
Sure.
Oh,
Bear
I
with
need to
me
mark
just
off
one
this
moment.
spell slot.
Get my lens of Trudat.
Are you sure we don't want to bring Orson with us? I'm really nervous leaving him by himself in this place.
Like the thing is like there's currently no threats in this room. We have
Okay, threats in this room have been randomly appearing the entire time we've been in this dungeon. I would argue that this is by far the most dangerous room.
And that's why we have the Spirit Guardian.
yeah, I think that Spear Guardian would actually one shot any of those
Pretty
brains.
sure the thing would one-shot the little
It's
fuckers.
literally an illithid. that we are trying to break out of his prison in this room.
We'll move Orson
We have
before
an
we do
idea of
that.
how many more things we have to accomplish to do that, though. We can move them once we're down to 1 or 2 squirrels left.
I mean, when we get down to like 1 or 2, we could do that's when we could do our long rest.
Yeah.
Ginny and Victor, as you enter the room, very, very large chamber, one of the larger ones that you've seen. And again, very well illuminated because there are many channels crisscrossing through this room and many pools set up into the walls. However,